as we can hear your gulping in the intro. Oh, man. It's a good Monday. How's your weekend?
I didn't work at all.
It was great.
It was weird.
It was the first time I've seen you not like you were actually, you got to maybe relax a little bit, but I know you got some stuff done around the house.
Yeah, relax. Relax is like an hour a day.
Yeah.
If that. Yeah, a day. No, it was good. I got some yard work done. Basic chores done around the house, so it was nice.
Awesome.
Been putting that off for like a year now. The yard work.
Oh, yeah. A year. That's funny. I didn't get to do any yard work, but what did I do yesterday? What did we do? Oh, I had to help somebody move on Saturday.
Yeah, how was it?
It's actually, kind of fun, when Josh was on, it was a friend of Josh's, which was funny, but when Josh was on, I said, when we were serving, the best times for me were when things got shitty and stressful like that, like when you had to work 36 hours straight because an op was going on, you know what I mean? And you had trucks round robining and loading and unloading and dressing and undressing and all that stuff. It was the best. I loved it. So this truck comes from Jacksonville fully loaded. It's one of the long, big U-Hauls, right? And of course they get here and this girl's on the second story of her apartment building. So all of her furniture, all of her totes, everything's got to go upstairs. So I was like, let's go. And I just
leg day
started. Yeah, just start running. You know what I mean? and I told them, they thanked me after we finished everything. We unloaded the whole truck. And I mean, it was
stacked.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't packed the way a logistics one of us would have packed it, but it was fully loaded. I mean, they had that thing wedged, right? So, when I got there, the door was open and I could just see a wall of stuff and then, I mean, the whole 20-foot truck. So, I got there and I just, like I said, I started running and it took us an hour and 6 minutes to unload everything, get everything upstairs, all of our furniture, all of every single thing that was in that truck went upstairs in an hour and 6 minutes.
How many did you have though?
Me, one other guy, and then three girls. There were 4 girls, but one of them just had surgery or was going into surgery or something, is injured, so she couldn't help. So it was that, and we got everything up those stairs, and they all took breaks and stuff, but I didn't, and Josh didn't, and we ran. What? Oh yeah, yeah. It was. Oh, so they texted me after and said, "Hey, thanks for the help this weekend," or "Thanks for the help. I don't know how long it would have taken us if you weren't there." And I was like, "This is gonna sound like I'm joking, but I enjoyed the workout, right?" And they were like, "I don't know why I expected you to say anything else, but it was great. I loved." Yeah, maybe a last minute text saying, "Hey, can you come help us move?" Wasn't great, but I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I loved every second of running up and down those stairs for some reason, because again, that's just, even in the Marine Corps, that stuff. Every time that happened, I was all about it. So anyway, that's what I did this weekend. I did that. Changed out a couple of burnt outlets at my sister's house, at Carissa's house. Those things were toasted. I should have taken a picture of it.
Bad?
Yeah.
What
was
her
her
kids do?
No. It was an exterior outlet that must have gotten some water in it, because, I mean, even the screws that were mounting the outlet in were all rusted out and everything.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was burnt, and it's a GFCI outlet, right? So obviously the outlet tripped, but there was still, it should have tripped the one behind it because it was connected to another one.
Okay. Another GFI?
Yeah. So it was somebody had added an outlet for a water softener, and then they jumped off of that water softener outlet, which is GFCI, and went over to do a pump for a little fountain. and that was the problem one. So it was literally burnt. I mean, it looked like I'm surprised something else didn't catch on fire. That's how bad it was. So some water got in there, whatever. So it tripped that one, but it didn't trip the water softener one, which it should have because it was tied to that one.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they ponied off.
Yeah, so I'm going to take this thing out, and it's still hot. Still got power coming to it. Yeah, it's not safe at all, right? So I take that one out, switch it out, and I go test the other GFCI, and of course that one's bad, obviously, because it didn't trip. So I went, so I switched out both of them, but like I had never seen anything. It was all installed correctly. It's just the GFCI was bad on both of them because they've been there for so long and water's been in them. So they were both rusty and nasty, and it was only a matter of time before that other one caught. And then that one went in the house into her master bedroom. And those aren't on GFCI because when the house was built, it wasn't required. Now, everything when we build a house, they're on GFCI breakers. So like the entire house is on a GFCI breaker. So if something happens, it pops the breaker.
Well, yeah, well, good.
Yeah. So hers aren't. So that would have, if something happened, it would have went inside. It probably would have popped the breaker. It wasn't a GFCI, but it would have popped the breaker. And then she wouldn't have power inside because every time she go to turn it on, it just snap right back off because of what's going on outside. Yeah. So I switched all that out. Everything's working correctly. She's safe again. But like, unreal. You know what I mean? You should probably check all your outlets, especially the outdoor ones. Maybe at least once a year. Make sure everything's still looking correct and working correct.
I'm trying to think if there's even outlets on the outside of my house.
There definitely is.
Well, no. I know there is, and I'm just trying to think if there's any outside, away from my door, because I have obviously one.
They're required by the doors.
Door.
Yeah.
Okay.
So usually, most builders are only putting them by the doors because that's where they're required. They're required by the doors and by the AC unit. So you probably have one by the AC unit, which you also have a door. No, you don't have a door right there.
No.
So there's gonna be one by the AC unit and then one by the front and back door.
Do you have to plug in the AC outside?
No, it's so that if tech needs to work on the AC, they've got power right there. That's what the requirement is.
I don't know if I have that, but my house was, not crazy old.
No, early 2000s, and again, now we build everything and they're all on GFCI breakers. So like the old ones weren't. It should be a GFCI outlet. It may be a GFCI breaker, but it's usually just the outlet that's got the test and reset buttons. So like just test it. If it's not working, you need to replace it. Like hers, they had the buttons and it wasn't working. And I have a special tester since I do this stuff all the time. And you put it in there, you push a button and it pops whatever. I use that one for breakers. You know what I mean? It'll reset the outlets, but it also resets the breakers so that you know it's working correctly.
Well, yeah, it'll pop the breaker so when you go to the box, you can find it easier.
That too, yeah. So, of course, I go in to do hers and nothing's working. So I had to replace all of them. And, of course, the last electrician left me an inch of wire. So I had to, put the loop around the screw and all that crap. And I was like, oh, my gosh. This is great. So.
You want to splice on an inch wire?
No. It was a nightmare getting that. And then getting it in the box in that tiny little corner behind all of her bushes, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be... But I got it all done. So anyway, that's long-winded just to say that's what I did this weekend. And it was, it was all right. It was a good weekend. So, but I wanted to talk this morning. I wanted to keep this one short because apparently everybody prefers 30-minute podcasts.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about something funny that I was reading right before you got here, right? So I was reading this article. There's a guy over by On Top of the World, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a huge development, thousands and thousands of acres, and it's a retirement community here in Ocala. So there's this guy who owns, residential property right next to On Top of the World. I don't know what size lot he's on, but whatever. It's a residential lot. So it's right next to On Top of the World. And he's known that for years. Okay, he's been there for a while. And essentially, his driveway wasn't his driveway. It was on Top of the World's property. Okay? So they just fenced it off and boxed him in. He has no way to get in and out. Right? So right now what he's doing is like pulling up to the fence because his truck's inside the fence. So he's pulling up to the fence. He's got a ladder and he goes over the fence and then hops out to the road and somebody picks him up, right? So they're putting it in the news. They're putting it on whatever, reporting it to people like, look at this guy's screwed over. And then you start reading the article and you go, okay. So the actual facts are, On Top of the World has been planning this development phase, right? So it's been empty land for 20 years. Well, way more than that, obviously. But so the last 3 or 4 years, they've been saying, hey, listen, this is not a legal easement. We've just been letting you use it. And they've said, we're going to be closing this off because there's construction. We have to put a fence up to protect the construction site and so we don't get sued when people walk in and out, right? So we're going to be closing this off. If you would like, we will clear the land on this side or over here to make sure that you have access to a roadway, right? Otherwise, you're going to run out of time. We're going to put the fence up. You're not going to be able to access your land, right? Which they're totally legally allowed to do because it's their land. It's not his. He's just been using it. So he said, nothing. Just, nope, I'm going to keep using this because I've been using it for so long. I'm going to do it, right? So they fenced it off, and now he's complaining and trying to throw a fit because this big corporation cut him off. But they, for 2.5 years, have been telling him, hey, we will, at our expense, we will cut land, we will clear this for you to put a driveway in so that you can get over here.
I would have took them up on that bet in a second.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is people, like now it's in the news, right? So everybody's going, wow, I can't believe this development would treat people this way, right?
They don't read the whole story.
Yeah, that's the headline is this guy's trapped. And then you read into it and you go, okay, so you're an idiot.
He trapped himself.
Exactly. If like they've been warning you, hey, we're going to close this off. There's no easement here legally. If you go into the property records, there's no easement. This is our land. You are not allowed to use it. We've been letting you use it. And now we're willing to pay for you to use some other part of land because we're going to be building here. And he wants to cry wolf, you know what I mean? And tell everybody that he's been abused and he's still trying to fight that. Like they are 100% legally allowed to do what they did, right? And tried to warn him. And now he's like, there's no way out of here. The only two ways, I have to clear a bunch of land. Duh. Like, they were going to do it for you, and you said, no, I've been using this. I don't. And then you get mad when they finally do what they say they're going to do.
And now they're going to go have to pay for it to be done because of the bad.
They're not going to pay for it. I mean, it's so funny when you're reading the text, they're reading text messages and letters and stuff that are written back and forth. And the guy, they're like, yeah, no, we told this guy that we were going to do this and we offered to pay for this stuff. And he said no. So it's over now. Like, that's it. I mean, you can sue if you want, but I mean, legally, there's nothing you can do. We did everything the right way. It was our land to begin with. We didn't have to give him a notice. We tried to help him out. And he was stubborn and said no. And here we are. So this guy's playing the victim role. And it's funny the way that the media spins things. Like their headline is this. And then you read the whole article and you go, okay. So now 90% of the people are just reading the headline and then telling everybody about it. They're not reading the article.
That's how it works.
I know, but like and then say you do read the article. I would say probably still 80% of people are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this corporation would do that, right? Because they're mad at people who have money. But I read it and I go, this dude's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah, like you openly decided to put yourself in this situation. And then you're going to get upset now that you have to spend thousands of dollars to clear the land because you gave up the opportunity to have someone else do it for you. So I wanted to talk about that because it made me laugh. I was like, the difference between, us and the way that we would view it versus most other people are going to say that's unfair to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the corporate life. Like, it's no fair at all. They own all the land and they can do what they want. They own the land to start with.
Exactly.
You never owned it.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have been using it. They were nice.
Yeah, that would have been like, step number one, right? I own the property. Even if he's renting the property, right? I go,
no, I've just been using it this whole time.
Yeah. So, say you buy the property, right? The first thing you do when you buy it, obviously, is you get a survey and you go, wait a minute, that's not included.
Yeah.
So even if he didn't buy it, say he's renting it.
He knows it.
They contacted him 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago and said, hey, listen, this is our property. We're going to be closing this off. If you want access, you got to do this and that.
2.5 years ago. They did their due diligence.
Exactly. They've been contacting or in contact with him for like 2.5 or 3 years, it said. So, like, I just don't understand. Again, but A, if you own the property, the first thing you do is get a survey and you go, this ain't going to work. I'm going to have to do something else because, even if, say it is a handshake deal where they're saying, yeah, you can use it as forever. Nope. I ain't trusting that. I'm doing something to make sure that I've got a legal way into my property. You cannot go off a handshake of what your neighbor says. Things will change no matter what.
But even if that's the case, go grab a chainsaw and make a path to your property.
Well, that's the thing is he's 100% landlocked. He's got to go through somebody else's property. So he can't just go willingly cut down trees. He has to coordinate and get everything set up.
And he wasted that?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, he is literally 100% landlocked, which I don't even know why they make lots like that. You know what I mean? But they do, and that's what he is. So just because it had this access to it.
See, so he needs to not be mad at the corporation. He needs to be mad at the county.
Yep, that too. Because
that's the people to be mad at here because they're the ones who made the lot lines.
Right. So evidently back in the 30s, right, 1930s, it was an easement. Okay, but they replatted when whoever purchased the big chunk of land, which is now on top of the world, they replatted in the 70s and changed it and said, well, this isn't being used anymore. We're getting rid of this easement. So it's not on top of the world. You know what I mean? But 40 years ago, they replatted and said no more easement. And he's like, no, well, it used to be an easement. So I'm gonna let that. I'm gonna use what they had in the 30s, and that's the law. So it's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's really been 40 years since they've.
Well, I don't know. What's 1970 to now?
Well, no. I know. I'm just saying, like, I didn't know. Like, I obviously know that's a pretty big task to do.
What, to replat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they probably just replatted that section. I don't think they replatted the entire county, but either way, his specific one was replatted in the 77 or something like that. And yeah, you get what you get. You don't just, that is now legally the rules. So you don't just say, oh, well, the rules used to be this, so I'm going to go by those rules and not the existing rules. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really great. So I was reading that and I was like, man, this would be fun to talk about because it doesn't, the way that the media spins things and the way that, like, people don't look into these things. You know, they just read the headlines, read the first blurb at the top, and then they're like, oh, let me go gossip and tell everybody about this instead of doing a little bit of research and finding out what the heck's going on. You know what I mean? So you guys cannot trust everything you see online. It's amazing.
Being a marketer, no, you cannot trust everything you see online.
Yeah. So, and I mean, this is all over the place. Doesn't matter what it is. Every headline, I mean, there is truth to it. The guy is, the headline was on top of the world, blocks this guy in. Absolutely, they did that. You know what I mean?
Just no context around that. But that's the thing. All that's meant to do is pull the attention. Now, the media company cannot help the fact that human nature is you read the biggest, boldest text on there and you believe what you see.
Actually, they can, but that's why they do that. They pick the words that people will repeat the most, or that'll have the most impact, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not impact, but interaction, right? Whatever gets the most clicks. So that everybody's going to click on that or view it. Whatever gets the most views, that's what I'm looking for. That they're going to look at that the longest. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying is not really, because if so, they would have read the article.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like the headline. Like if they wrote, guy doesn't listen or...
Well, no. I know. I know that's to pull clicks, but that's what I'm saying is majority of people probably don't click. They just see that and just run with just that headline.
Right.
They don't click into it. They just take it, run for what that's worth, and go, hey, did you see on top of the world trap that guy in?
Yeah.
And that's all they say. It's like, well, where'd you get that? Oh, no, I saw that online.
Yep.
Like, it's not even like a reputable source. It's not even like they can go into what you just described. Like,
Yeah.
You obviously read the article.
Yeah.
It made you click to read the article, but there's not too many people like you who actually read the whole article.
Yeah, and I don't usually. I don't know how that one popped up on Google or something.
It's ironic because that one's local too, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. And, we talked about that before, I ignore the news. It's not like I'm sitting watching news or anything like that, but whenever I open up Google, it gives me like 4 or 5 news articles. So I'm scrolling down and I saw that and I was like, this is kind of, because I read about it, I don't know, a year ago or something. Or not a year ago, a couple months ago. Back at the beginning of the year, they put the fence up. And I thought, and I did the same thing before where I just looked at the headline and went, ooh, that sucks, right? And then I didn't read anything. And so I was like, let me actually see what's going on here and find out that the guy's an idiot. Should have just listened.
Should have just listened.
Yep. So it was good. It was good. Most of my news articles are about planes and stuff since I've been looking for a plane that I'm never going to buy. Like just because I'm getting my pilot's license, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get this. I want that. But everybody does that. Like I scroll Zillow looking at $1 million houses. I actually stopped doing that since I built mine because now I just look for floor plans because I'm just going to build the next one. You know what I mean? Now that I got the license, I'm just going to build it. I'm going to build whatever I want. And I'm never going to find a house that's got everything
what's
the
funny?
way I want it.
Abigail and I will look at houses on there. And every time I'm like, aren't you going to change the design? Like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't.
It literally makes no sense because that's not what I want. I don't want 5-7 bedrooms. Like, I want the house size, but I don't want the bedroom size. It's like, how do you custom? Oh, yeah, I'll just go speak to a contractor.
That's right, I know that guy. And that's the thing. Now that I have the license, like, I if I buy a house, it's to flip it. It's not to live in because I'm going to build everything from now on. And this isn't my last house. I'll definitely be building more because I like building new homes too much. And I hate moving. I hate packing and moving, but I like changing things up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I look at floor plans pretty much every day.
I don't know. I like probably 5-7 years move.
Yeah.
Get something new.
Yeah, I don't want to move far.
Oh, no, I'm not.
But I do want to, I want to change it up, Yeah. So, which is pretty much exactly what we did. I think we did 4-5 years. When did we move? 2022?
I don't know.
Yeah, 2022 we moved. So, we did 6. No, that was exactly 4 years. 4 years and then we moved. So now we're almost on 2. Oh, that means 2 more years and then I got to build a new house. It's pretty simple. Just like a what's that called?
I don't know where you're going.
An enlistment. Every 4 years you change up.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, you could use the VA loan every 2 years and just take that profit and move on.
Yep. That's the plan. I mean, we use the VA loan to build this one. Hopefully the next one will be, no mortgage, because when we sell this, we'll have enough to just be done in equity to just pay for the next one. But we'll see what happens. We're really considering right now putting up a shop in the back with a little apartment / studio and stuff in there, because I'm looking every day for something for us. And I got one number to call today. That's like an owner. It's not advertised anywhere besides a sign out front of his place. I'm gonna call them, but like everything is just so overpriced.
Well, if you do any of the corporate ones, and having to go through like one of the brokers,
yeah,
you get paying an arm and a leg.
Well, yeah, but not even that. It's like 3 to 5 year triple net leases, and I'm not gonna sign a 3 to 5 year lease. You know what I mean? Like
6 to a year.
Yeah, it's 6 months to a year, but that I would be comfortable signing. But either way, building the shop is so inexpensive compared to everything else. It's like, just do that and then lease the space to the business. You know what I mean? Because right now I'm paying the lease. I could pay this same lease here and have a whole shop. Just pay it to myself instead. You know what I mean? Or my property management company. And then just keep it going like that. Make some extra money. I'm not making any money. I'm just switching pockets basically. But when I have a leased space and I have a lease signed, I can write off extra expenses for the company. So for this company, so it's a little bit nicer. I can say that I'm purchasing things for the office versus if I had a home office and I was like, oh yeah, I got this for the office. Probably didn't. You know what I mean?
No, everything at that point is literally any improvements.
Yeah, so I can write off a couple more things if I have a signed lease with a company. It might be my company, but it doesn't matter. I can still, offset some of my income that way. And then with the other one, with the property management company that's having that income come in, now I've got that for that company that I can push towards whatever real estate investing I'm doing. So it's just, I'm considering it heavily because it's, again, super inexpensive to do all that. So versus get something somewhere else that we cannot change, you know what I mean? And then we have to move in and move back out of it. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's really how big of a shop?
I was looking at 40 by 60. It's pretty big. So
how much office space though?
Probably do 12. Let me see, 12 to 24 feet. Probably 12, but 2 stories. So it'd be 24 feet by 40 feet. So it'd be enough.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. But it'll be, apartment and then a little bit of office space. Like the apartment too, I could then have an apartment right here in horse country that I can Airbnb out. You know what I mean? That's secluded enough from my primary residence that people coming in to stay at WEC and whatever can just run in, stay in a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment for the weekend and charge them for it. And it's got a nice,
it will pay for itself
very quickly. So, I'm throwing around all these ideas, trying to figure out which one I want to do. Just waiting on a couple of other bills to come due that are owed to me and a couple of other investments to fizzle out so that I can collect on that. And then I'll have some cash to burn. So see what happens. But anyway, that was, yeah. This, though, I'm probably I think we need to move this. Because I was, we always talk about being efficient. And I'm in here this morning setting everything up again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is getting annoying, having to pull everything out. It only takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get everything set up and dialed in. But it's 5 to 10 minutes at the end, too, tearing everything down, putting it all away, blah, blah, blah. So if I just had this all set up, and then we could do it any time of day, and anybody can come, because we got one guest coming Wednesday. It'll just be nice to not have to worry about all that, Just have it all set up. We can just go in there, turn it on, and then leave.
Yeah. Then that means it would have to. The only other place we have is your house.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why, and so we would switch the time up to whatever time works best for you, whatever days work best for you, because obviously anything will work for me at that point. And then, because, you don't have to drive. It's funny because I drive all the way down here in the mornings. You know what I mean? So, but I don't expect you to drive all the way up there in the mornings. So, which is a trait that I know we both have, where here's a perfect example, right? I had to go get your dogs, right? I would rather it be me doing that than vice versa. Like if you had to go get my dogs, I'd feel like absolute shit that I had, you know what I mean? That I had to bring you out there and you slept outside and blah, 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 which I know you felt the same way, right? Vice versa. But I'm just saying, I'd rather go through shit than put somebody else through shit. Does that make sense?
It does. But this also works out nicely because you come to the gym and then you work right here.
Yeah.
And that only works because you do work right here.
Exactly.
The moment you stop renting this office, this setup
doesn't
make sense anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That was the only reason why that it made sense for you to drive down here and stay down here to continue to do this because
yeah.
The setup. No, it would be insane to try to drive up every morning.
Yeah. It wouldn't be worth it. So we wouldn't do it in the morning, and I don't mind that because, like I said last week, I think I want to start maybe. I go to the gym early, A, because it's what I'm used to, and B, because there's nobody there. But as I'm thinking about it more, I don't have to go that early. I could easily go at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., right, when everybody's at work. I don't know what the gym looks like at that time. There's probably not a lot of people. There's probably more people than there are at 3 in the morning, but there's probably less people than there are at 5 in the afternoon. So I was like, I own my own company. I can do what I want. So why not just go in at 7 and start my day at work at 9 instead of at 7? Especially now that I have the project manager that's, picking a lot of things up. He's out there at 7. He's meeting the subs at 7. I don't need to be doing that anymore. So why not just shift it? Instead of waking up at 2:40, I can wake up at 5, make my daughter and my wife breakfast, take my daughter to school, and then go to the gym, and then shower and come over here. You know what I mean? I've been really thinking about that the last 5 or 6 days. I just need to shift all this, and then we can do the podcast at any freaking time of day. If it's not here where there's people moving around all the time, because I was recording myself. I don't know. Whenever I got the headphones, right? I was testing out the headphones. So I'm over here going, I wonder what this sounds like. Does this sound okay? Let me adjust the volume. And she came over and went, hey, is everything okay over here? I was like, I'm in here talking to myself, and she can freaking hear me. And then I can hear her phone calls as picking them up on the mic.
Nah.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't do that anytime.
And yeah, that's the only time that this works here, even in, the studio we were using was early in the morning. Because in the afternoons, in the morning, even in the morning, it's too loud.
Yeah. So I think we'll shift some things around. I think I'm going to run my schedule next week like that. I'm going to try that out and see how that works. Because then I get a little extra sleep every day. I'm not, like last night, kid goes to bed at 7. I get everything done. And I actually read last night for the first time in a while. Really good book about Vietnam. You should check it out. But anyway.
I don't read.
I know.
I don't read books like that. And the thing is, someone asked me the other day, they're like, why don't you read? And I go, if I wanted someone's perspective, it's a perspection. Jesus.
Perspective.
It's going to happen again. Perspective.
Yep.
On the world, I would ask.
Yeah.
I don't need to read it.
Yeah.
To get the same story as me just going to him and listening. But that's the thing is where the point where I'm at in my life right this second. I don't want 1,000 different influences. I don't even want to read one influence because what I'm doing right now is making me money. I want to stay on that path and not adjust it one little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to skew my thinking. And they're like, well, that's very closed-minded. I go, if you ask millionaires how they got to become a millionaire, they're going to tell you to do one thing and to focus on one thing and not to get off of that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's working, why change it?
Yeah, so I used to, like, I don't know, for the past 4 or 5 years, every book that I've read has been either related to personal development, business development, or personal growth or something along those lines, right? And I've not decided, but I said, let me try something else. So I'm just reading a book about history. It's literally just about the Vietnam War and the things that happened. So it has nothing to do with bettering myself or bettering the company. It's just, I prefer nonfiction to fiction because so I'm reading.
I agree with you. I'm not going to sit there and do
read
some
about
like
fairies and, of course,
sci-fi stuff. That's just not me.
I say that, but there's also fiction books that have not that are about real life. You know what I mean, or relate to real life. So either way, I prefer something where I still learn something. You know what I mean. So I'm reading this book about. I just started it last night, and I'm a very slow reader. So anyway, I read that last night, and I get to sleep. I don't know. It was after 9 o'clock, right? So 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 30. That's, so I got 5.5 hours of sleep. So I'm thinking I'll just shift my schedule. If I get to bed by 9, then I still get 8 hours if I wake up at 5. And, I'll see if that changes a couple things for me, if I'm a little more productive that way. If I can stop drinking Red Bull. That's a vice I have right now.
Well, that's the thing. Are you drinking Red Bull because you're only getting 5 hours of sleep a day?
No, I'm drinking it because I'm addicted to the caffeine. I know it. You know what I mean? Like whenever I'm going, even if it's 3 in the afternoon, I'm driving by a gas station. I'm like, my mouth starts watering. I'm like, I need a Red Bull. Like if I haven't had one yet, and it has nothing to do with me being tired. It's specifically because I'm addicted to it. But
okay, I'm not even that way with coffee. The only time when I get sleepy, I want coffee.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to wake up, give me a cup of coffee. It's just something about that will wake me up, keep
Absolutely.
me awake. I know obviously the caffeine, but I can go weeks without drinking coffee. It's whenever I feel like I need coffee.
Yeah, so like I did I went years without drinking Red Bull, and then I went
The last 2 years of drinking it one every day.
No, I haven't. It's probably been like maybe 2 months, so November, December at the end of last year I drank it almost every day. And then I took January off. I did the Whole30 thing, and then I'm doing a version of the Whole30 now besides the Red Bull. You know what I mean? And then a cookie once a week, or not once a week. On the weekends, I eat cookies. But anyway, and then now, probably last month and this month, it's like I can't stop. I don't know what it is. The first sip, I'm like, oh, that's what I needed. And I know it's the caffeine. I know it is because caffeine's addictive. So it is different about coffee. Like I've read this somewhere. I don't remember but like coffee, the caffeine in coffee is natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's different than when it's added to something like an energy drink.
Oh yeah, that's fake. Like it's more.
Yeah, so it's more addictive. So like that's what it is, 100%. So I just need to stop. So I'm thinking if I get 8 hours, it won't be as bad. There's gonna be some withdrawal. I'm gonna be beating my wife for a little bit, but it'll go away, and everything will be okay. So, completely joking. I don't beat my wife, nor will I. So,
but it makes it worse because she's pregnant right now.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'm gonna try that out next week and see how that goes, and then maybe because like I've got the office that I got is like perfectly set up. I didn't even think about it, but it's got a couch already. I just need one other chair and then maybe a table, and we've got everything set up for the podcast. I'll put some decoration on the wall, you know what I mean, and it'll be great. And then we can do it any time of day. We can do the live streaming on Friday nights like we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think it'll be cool.
We got to pick a time for that because I still got to be able to get home.
Obviously, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's if we decide Friday nights, whenever we decide to do it. I think Friday nights we might get a full 4 or 5 people watching. So it's probably, if we do it, any other time, we might get one.
No. I'm not saying it's bad time. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I get it, because you do live a half hour away. That's the only issue. We're not neighbors anymore, so that would have been perfect if we started this a couple years ago.
Yeah, in Okinawa.
Oh, if we started it out there, that would have been. I don't even know. That would have been ridiculous. We were literally
neighbors.
I mean, as close as you could get for being brothers.
In the same branch.
Yeah. That was, ridiculous. So anyway, now we'll shut this one down. Not that we talked about anything productive, but we talked. So we'll see. Maybe Wednesday we'll do something a little different. We'll try it out.
Well, you said we have that guest.
Yeah, he's coming up. So it's definitely not going to be at 5 a.m. because he's coming from a couple hours away. So I'll see. We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Not that we talked about anything productive, but did you want to add anything before we leave?
Nope.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.